Hey, welcome back. It's We Were Gamers episode 5. 5 episodes.
We're still doing this.
Oh yeah, we're really doing it.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to thank everyone for being here for 5 episodes. The 6 or 7 people, right? I think we've come up in number.
There's probably at least 3 people. I know 3 people that have listened to it. So then that's forward progress from the 0 I was pretty sure we were going to have at this point. So
well, thanks to all of those people for 5 episodes. It's been really fun.
And the other people that we don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I was a little low energy last week, JJ.
Oh?
I don't know if you noticed, but I noticed.
It wasn't obvious to me.
Oh, I noticed it when I was going back through the recording, and I wanted to say I'm endeavoring not to say to everyone that I'm tired because I am tired, but that's like a new all the time sort of thing, so I'm just trying to move on from it. But I noticed it last week. I was just a little bit low. Anyway, just putting that out there.
As an adult, Andrew, everyone gets tired. Everyone is always tired all the time.
Right, which is why, and for the first 6 months after we had our child, I would say I was tired. Like somebody would ask me, "Hey, how you doing?" And then I'd start with "I'm tired," and then it would go from there. And then I just started leaving off "I'm tired." But I really felt like it was worth mentioning that I was very tired during the last one, and that's why I was a little low energy.
Well, hopefully that's not always going to be the case. And sometimes, life does stuff, and what are you going to do?
Well, I'm really high energy right now because I'm recording this episode from Boston, Massachusetts. Well, just outside Boston in a place called Wareham.
Hey, that's like 3,000 miles away from me right now, as opposed to the 150 we usually are.
Yeah. And this internet in this hotel seems to be holding up, and so I'm really high energy because it's all working out. We can record an episode. I can be out here in Boston and work, and it's all good.
So tell me, have you been to Boston before? I never have.
No, and I haven't done too much other than see the city in the morning that we got in from the flight because we took a red eye, and wow, it's really pretty. And I got to see the outside of Fenway, hopefully on our way back into town because we're shooting outside of town. We maybe get to stop in and look at it, but if we don't, I'll be back. And then we went down to Plymouth to see the Rock, which is
the Plymouth Rock.
The Plymouth Rock, which is the size of a boulder in your yard.
Okay, so real small.
Yeah, apparently a lot of people have chipped away at it until they put up a thing around it in the 50s or something like that. So it used to be gigantic.
Got tourists ruining for everyone.
Yeah, of course, right?
Yep. That's how all those things go.
You can't solve all the world's problems, I guess, but, you live and learn as a person and as a country, and you start protecting things that matter, I guess. I don't know. But yeah. It's pretty cool. I like the area. It's the middle of a rainstorm right now. I don't know if people can hear the pitter-patter and thunder in the background over the course of this, but hopefully not. But there's some weather. It's nice and cool. It's really, really green, and there aren't strip malls everywhere. So just being here is fun.
I love that you describe it as there is some weather, as opposed to in California where there is the absence of weather 95% of the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get some fog in the morning, and that's weather.
Yeah, it's like, oh, what's today? Is today going to be foggy in the morning, or is it just going to be clear and 70 all day? Oh, I guess there wasn't. Okay. Well, actually, it's probably 90 outside at my house right now. Not 90. It was 90 during the middle of the day. It's probably closer to 75 now.
I was really worried because the humidity factor out here can be really high, and it was scheduled to be high, and then thunderstorms, and so the humidity level doesn't really matter because it's raining.
Yeah, well, the humidity is 100%.
Yeah,
all the humidity.
But it's been nice. It's been nice and cool, and a nice break from the heat that was coming to Southern California. So, anyway, I hope to see more of Boston and the surrounding area, Wareham and Plymouth, and a couple other places that people have mentioned. I don't know if we'll have time for all of them because, we are out here to work, which means 8 a.m. to 9 or 10 p.m. usually. But sometimes we get a break in the middle of the day or something like that. So we'll see. Cool. But it's fun.
Yeah, I'll be interested in hearing about it next week.
Yeah, I'll try and make as many notes as I can.
The cool stuff, anyway. Leave out the boring parts.
Well, are you high energy this week, JJ? What's going on with you, man?
I am super pumped all the time, man. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I'm good. What's been going on with me this weekend? I built some shelves in my garage. Ah, yeah. Super exciting.
You are just the epitome of home ownership.
Right? I was just doing the most boring homeownerly things. It's like, oh, I'm going to do some stuff in my bathroom, build some shelves. And then actually today, my girlfriend and I rented a U-Haul. We went over to pick up some patio furniture from a friend who was getting rid of it. And it's a really nice set, actually, like a pottery barn.
So, and you've owned your house how long now?
I'd say like we're coming up on 3 years here.
And other than redoing your yard, this is kind of the first real like gung-ho beginning of an overhaul, right?
Yeah, I installed air conditioning. That was probably the most expensive thing I've done thus far.
But it seems like every week now it's kind of like a new project, which is great.
Yeah, I'm just trying, it's stuff I wanted to do. Stuff that would be, it's going to improve the quality of my life. So, it'd be nice if there was possible to park 2 cars in my garage instead of just one. Ooh. So, I'll clean that up a little bit and slowly and surely get there.
Nice. I aspire to have the fortitude and time to get projects done like you.
Yeah, well, it helps that I don't also have to chase a child around all the time.
All right. Well, no excuses, man. We're going to get projects done.
That's right. Let's do some projects, Andrew.
Well, did you get any games in this week? I haven't talked to you because I've been working since Thursday.
Yeah, man. It was, I don't know what happened last week. It was like we talked, for the podcast last week, and we talked a little bit doing some production stuff after that. Played a little bit together. I know we played some Diablo last week. But kind of then you just were like, poof, gone.
Well, Wednesday I had to get ready, and Thursday got on a plane, so.
Man, yeah. But I did play a few other things. I played some of the same stuff I was doing last week. Got up to some Hearthstone action and had more time in Overwatch. Really digging playing Overwatch, man. It's been really fun.
I had somebody describe it to me the other day, and they said, or maybe this was something I read. This might have been something I read that it's like going. Oh yeah, I think this was Rock Paper Shotgun that said this with a website. So I'll throw them a bone if I'm right. Maybe I should double check this and then cut this part out if I'm wrong.
No fact checking on this podcast. That's too much work.
Okay, no fact checking. You got it. They said it was like going on a speed date and then realizing that every hero was marryable.
Oh, huh. Okay. That's a really cool analogy.
Yeah, so his point was that you sit on the character screen at the beginning of a match and you're just like, who do I want to play? And it's not like, well, this guy's bad, that guy's bad, that guy's bad. Oh, well, look at our team comp. I can't play anyone other than this one character. No matter what, you've got like 5 or 6 choices at least.
Yeah, and sometimes doubling up on a hero isn't even the worst thing.
No, I heard that everyone's trying out the double McCree right now.
I don't know anything about a double McCree or what everyone else is doing, but I can tell you a story because I had the greatest experience of my life. The greatest experience of my Overwatch life, which is now, like a couple weeks old. I played on a map which maybe the people know. I think it's called the Temple of Anubis. It's to attack the point. So it's we were defending, but it's an attack the point. You come through this big archway and sort of in a small side area. There's a point, then you go down, and then there's a big sort of central hallway across a bridge, and that's the second point. We were on the defense, and my team. Usually on that map, I play, there's 2 different characters I play on that map generally. I'll either be playing what's his name? Oh my god, I can't believe I just forgot. The turret guy.
Bastion.
Yes, thank you. How did my name just escape? Yeah, Bastion. I know a lot of hate going around about Bastion, but...
What?
People don't like him because he's really easy just to kill everyone with really easily, right? They're like, oh, Bastion's cheap, it's not fair.
Why? I mean, he's immobile.
Yeah, Andrew, I die as Bastion all the time, so I can go ahead and confirm to you he's not overpowered. It's very easy to kill him, especially if they have a good sniper.
Or
Or
Genji.
Genji just reflects all my bullets at my face because as my old man reaction times are not fast enough to stop shooting him before I kill myself.
My problem isn't my reaction times. I think I get the old man eye where like I keep shooting and I keep shooting and I keep shooting
You're like,
and then I'm
why
dead.
is it not dying? And you're
Yeah,
like,
well
oh,
then I'm dead.
oops.
I'm dead and then I do the squint at my screen and I'm like, oh, that's a Genji, and I look like I'm reading a newspaper with my glasses on.
You just saw the outline of the red outline. You're like, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it.
Yeah.
But that's not the hero I was playing this time. This time I played Toblerone.
The Torbjorn?
Yeah, Torbjorn I think is his actual name, but the internet has taken to calling him Toblerone because that's funnier also, and a delicious candy, I think. So I picked Toblerone because I thought it would be fun. Yeah, he builds a little turret, hammers on it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of good spots in that map. You can set up turrets that have good coverage of where the entire team has to come through. And then another person on my team picked Toblerone, and then another one, and then another one, and we had 6 Toblerones.
Oh my!
Did
it work?
Amazing. We destroyed their team. They lost so hard.
How does that work? How do they not just get around the turrets and kill all of you?
You can't get around the turrets, Andrew. There are so many turrets. There's only one path. Like, there's a few little side areas or whatever, but there's a few pretty key points, and they have to stand in that zone if they want to take it. If you have like 4 different turrets covering that zone from different angles around different corners, everyone is going to die. It's so hilarious. That is the most fun I've ever had playing Overwatch. It's just listening to someone yell "Molten Core," and then the next guy, like a whole bunch of people die, and you hear "Molten Core," and a whole bunch of people die. It was the silliest thing I've ever been a part of, and gosh, it was so much fun.
That's good that you're still having a fun experience. I haven't gotten to play too much, but I miss trying to play more. The only complaint so far that I've heard about the game since we talked about it last week, because I've been reading, I've had some time to read, a little bit of downtime, and the only complaint I've really heard so far about the game is people complaining that, like, well, there's no real progression and there's nothing to do other than play, and your level doesn't mean anything, so the only thing to do is gain skins, and the skins aren't fast enough, and I've been playing for however X amount of time, and I'm level 26 and I don't have any skins yet, and I think we should get skins faster. I being this person that wrote this article.
Right.
And my answer to that is, well, I'm level 10 and I've played almost no time. So you haven't played that much time. I don't know how much you can be complaining about skins.
Yeah, I think from what I have heard talking to some of my other friends that have played and I've been playing with a little bit here and there, the progression kind of stalls out at level 20 and beyond. So like the amount of experience per level to increase your level stays the same from 20 to 100.
Okay.
So, once you hit 20, it's going to be that same amount again and again and again and again. But from below 20 up to 20, the number is smaller to bigger.
Okay.
So it's a little bit easier to level up at the really low end, and then when you get kind of higher up, it seems pretty normal to me. I don't know.
It seems fine. And, the thing that I don't think this person was considering is they're 26, right? The likelihood is you're going to get more and more and more duplicate items, which means you're going to get more and more and more money to start buying skins.
Mm-hmm. So I will say that I think
is there a level cap?
My understanding is it resets when you hit 100.
To 0.
To 1, yeah.
What?
What?
Why would it reset to 1?
I don't know. They only wanted to store a number from 1 to 99.
That's interesting. So then you get 10 fast levels again, or 20 fast levels again of boxes.
Yes.
That's like a reward for hitting 100, I guess.
Also, I am told, although I have never seen it myself, but I am told that the little portrait you have in the match screen or whatever, you know how they get a little more flares as you get, sort of like the portraits in Diablo, for people who are familiar with those. You know how you get bigger, fancier ones with more ornamentation and stars and decorations and skulls and stuff all over it or whatever. In Diablo, the same thing happens in Overwatch. When you reset your level, you get like a star, and then apparently if you would reset it multiple times, there would be more stars or more little ornamentations or whatever that go on top of it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
So, talking with my other friend who has played quite a bit more than me, because he's like level 30 something, he has seen a person with a star who was level 8.
Okay, so he was 108.
Yeah, so he told me he was level 108, and I'm like, how do you know? Because I thought you told me it resets, and he goes, yeah, well, it was 8 with a star, and I assume the star means reset once. So,
Okay, that's something I didn't know.
Yeah, so that interesting piece of advice. But I think in terms of the skin stuff, I think the rate you earn them is fine, right? Like I opened some, I'm level 20. I've opened a few chests. I haven't bought any of the chests or anything, and I've gotten some skins. I don't think I have any of the fancy ones that make your character look really different or anything.
No, I think it's fine. It's a paid game.
Yeah.
They didn't lock anything crazy behind a pay barrier after that.
And they're giving you all the maps. They're giving you all the characters. Like, what else do people want, man? You get the whole game. You just don't get all the cosmetics, too?
It's not like they said they're going to remove cosmetics or that they're limited or whatever, and that would annoy me a little bit considering it's paid.
Well, they might. We don't know, right?
They haven't said it, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And if they did say it, I would say, well, then you got to give people an opportunity to get it before you remove it because, that's only fair.
I have heard people talk about the idea of like seasonal skins. So it's like, oh, there's a Christmas theme skin for every character or something, and it comes in its own separate box from a different box from the normal box.
Oh, what they'll do is not that. They'll make you pay for a pack.
That's like some free-to-play game stuff right there.
Well, they do use the free-to-play model with the skins, but my guess would be that it's going to be a pack in the store that's like, here's your $20 holiday pack, and it's got a holiday skin for every character in it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I don't know that I would want to pay $20 for that, but you never know. Like something like that there might be some number I would be willing to pay for.
Sure.
Yeah, that's sort of been that's probably been the coolest stuff, and I don't really think the skin accrual rate is that bad. Yes, if you want to buy the legendary skins or the most expensive, the ones that change your character's look the most, those are very expensive. But I think I have probably like 300 or 400 like currency points or whatever. I don't know what those things are called. From duplicate skins and getting gold in chests or whatever. And the big fancy skins are 1,000. I'm only level 20, so if I'm at like 350 or whatever at level 20, that's not that much farther to get to 1,000 by the time I hit 100. That seems
I didn't think that complaint held much weight to me when they were only level 26. If somebody was like, I'm level 80 and I don't have enough money, then I'd maybe start to listen to it.
So I also am the understanding I got from my friend also is that the rate, like if you get a duplicate item, they give you currency instead of giving you like a second copy of the item. Mm-hmm. But the currency you get is like very, very low compared to the cost of that item, right? You don't get that item's cost in currency. You get like a quarter or less, like a fifth or something of what that item would be. So if the item is like, 25 coins or whatever for this spray, you get like 5.
It still doesn't bother me.
Yeah, whatever. I am perfectly happy to play as all the default skins on all the characters and just shoot people in the face all the time. It's pretty good.
Oh, man. Well, how's your Diablo grind going?
It's going pretty good.
I think we've both kind of decided a little bit that we normally play together, but there are things each of us needs to do aside from each other and also chase aside from each other. So we've a little bit tried to get them on our own.
Yeah. I'll be interested in hearing how far you got. I know you played a little bit on your own as well. But I got through, I want to say I'm doing Torment 7 now. I picked up at least one piece that was an upgrade. So that felt pretty good. I'm chasing a few more pieces to complete the Traveler's Pledge and Compass Rose set. I have the neck piece of that, and there's a ring that goes with it. And once I have both of those, I'll get a pretty big damage boost out of that. So that's a ring that I'm chasing. And I'm chasing a one-handed orb to put in the cube that would also increase my damage by a pretty good amount. And the orb I'm just using blood shards on because there aren't that many. And that seems like a pretty quick way to go about getting them.
Right.
And they're cheap, I guess. The one-handed orbs are like only 25 blood shards, which is not that much.
That's like a bracer or something.
Yeah. So that's pretty easy. And then I know there's a one-handed wand that I need. So I made a bunch of yellow ones, and I've slowly been, as I collect enough Death's Breath, I started going through upgrading those in the cube to see if I can get one that's useful.
Nice.
That's probably going to take quite a bit longer to find the one I actually need. But at least, we're moving forward. Got a couple pieces, put some stuff in the cube.
Well, I'll tell you what I did, and then maybe we chat about our feelings so far on the season. But
yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts overall.
To get to certain points with your build and to make them as powerful as they need to be to accomplish basically the end game of the season, which is 4 levels beyond finishing the season, right? So there's chapter 1, 2, 3, 4. And then there's chapter 1, 2, 3, 4 again, basically, to get to the end of the season to get your stash tab.
Yeah, it's like Slayer and Conqueror, and I don't remember what they're called, but yeah, names like that.
To do that, you basically have to kit out to a perfect build that someone probably else came up with, so that because you and I don't have the time or energy to figure out builds.
Or at least, if not perfect, like very optimized. You're looking for a specific gear.
Right. One of those things for me is a box drop from Act 1. So I know exactly how to get the box, and I just have to do it over and over and over again until it drops from the box. I've now done it 35 times.
Holy cow, man. And you still haven't gotten that ring?
No.
It is the ring, right? The one we're talking about here?
Yes. I need the Ring of Royal Grandeur.
Man.
35 times.
Man, that's just some insanely bad luck. I know we've talked about your bad luck on this podcast before.
Right. So I've kind of gotten to the point about well, maybe we should just finish the first chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I might be done.
Just call it a day. Get our fancy portrait and say whatever.
Yeah, but it feels so bad to me, considering how we, grinded?
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 Yeah, I don't know the past tense on that one. I think
it's a rough one.
It's weird because it's not the same word as grind, like grinding, dirt or flour. It's a different verb.
I'm going with ground.
Okay.
Well, we ground through it last season, even though what I thought the achievements were harder, and this time around, we can't even get to the achievements because we can't get the gear.
Yeah. It's been really weird. I don't know. Maybe we should just... Maybe we just need to grind a little bit more ourselves and then just come together and just jump straight to Torment 10 and fail our way through a bunch of bounties and stuff until we get to where we need to be. I don't know. Because also, we haven't done that many of the rifts.
No.
So I have, no gems.
Yeah, we might need to do more rifts.
All of the legendary gems that I'm supposed to use for this build, I don't have any of them.
Well,
and I've been leveling one gem because I know you need to level the gems, but the gem sucks basically for the build, or it doesn't suck, but it's not great.
Well, I just don't know if it's because of how much time we put in last season, or how much my memory didn't serve me well, and how much work we put in last season. But something feels a little bit different, or not as engaging this time around so far. And maybe it's been my luck because of the boxes or something, but something's not as enrapturing as it was last time.
Do you think it's because you're more interested in playing maybe Overwatch instead of this? So it feels like this is a chore as opposed to something that's fun?
Yeah, that could definitely be it. Is I'm looking at it
let's get this thing out of the way.
Yeah, it could be that it's more like a chore to finish at this point. It's just a tick box and not something I'm excited about, because at the same time when we played it last season, it was kind of there was no Overwatch. Hearthstone was on the back burner because it was the end of a season when we started it,
Right.
So Maybe you're right. Maybe there's just so much else out there to play, and with the podcast now too, I want to go play other games and talk about other games, not just Diablo every week.
Yeah, that's true. I know. Hopefully, people don't get too bored of us talking about Overwatch every week because there's probably going to be a lot of that for a while.
Well, it's okay. We cut it down to 10 minutes this week.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
I think that's salvage. Like, not salvage. Salvageable is the wrong word. Oh my god.
Well past salvageable. It's fine.
No, I think it's still entertaining, you know?
Yeah. Just hear a nice little story about it every week or something. Check in.
That's my take on Diablo so far.
Yeah, I think we'll keep at it maybe because I know the last thing we need to do for season 4 is we have to finish a set dungeon, right?
Yeah, I'm not excited about that.
Those sucked so bad last season. God, I hated it.
Well, and I looked at what I have to do for mine, and it's literally I have to go find gear for it because it's not completable without the ability to cast this one spell nonstop. And to cast this one spell nonstop, you need 3 different items.
Yeah, that's going to be a real bummer. I'm not sure. I know mine needs some different items than I have that I'm searching for in general. I don't remember what they are offhand. Yeah, it just really seems like it's going to be a bummer to finish the journey for the stash tab this season.
So we'll give it a little bit more of a shot and see how we feel in another week or two, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe we just decide, it's all right, move on a little bit. That's not bad.
Yeah. Okay, well, I've been traveling.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually busted out my 3DS.
Oh, awesome. That's cool. So did you play anything on it?
Yeah. Well, there's 2 things I wanted to pick your brain about.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you play your 3DS or your other handhelds? Because I realized, I pull them out when I go to conventions. I pull out my 3DS because of Street Pass.
Sure.
And this is, I think, you know what? I'm going to call this part 1 of a 2-parter. Because I have a feeling there's a lot to talk about.
Okay.
We're not going to get to all of it. So part 1 is tell me about your gaming habits with your mobile device. Because I've noticed that unless I am going to a convention or traveling, as in this case, I have stopped using my 3DS or my PS Vita. Basically, they sit in the drawer until the next time we're traveling or we're going to a convention.
Yeah. That's pretty similar to me. I think I'm trying to remember what the last thing I played on 3DS was. It has been a while. I definitely take it with me on, like you said, to conventions and stuff like that. Although I'm not as religious about the Street Pass stuff as you are, mostly because I think you've invested more in those other Street Pass games than I have. So that's that for that one. The PS Vita I usually take on long plane rides and stuff. The games and stuff, I have more games and stuff on my PSN account than I do 3DS games, and it's easier for me to travel with that. So I have a wider variety of stuff to play when I get bored on an airplane. But that's pretty much the only time I use either of them, really. If it's shorter trips or stuff like that, I just play Hearthstone on my phone most of the time.
Yeah, so I've noticed that too. Is if it's a day that I'm going somewhere and I know I'm going to have a little bit of downtime, I just think about, well, I have a book or I have Hearthstone on my phone. I can do either of those 2 things, and I never even think to bring out my DS. But I mean, how many games could you get through on a trip anyway, right? So you have to think
can't
about
even get through one most of the time, right?
So you have to think about what game you really want to play before you even pull it out. I just wonder, because I used to pull out handhelds and it's gotta be the invention of the phone and being able to just brain deadly. What is that word? Can you adverb brain dead? Because
I'm not sure that you can. I don't know. But we understand what you're trying to convey here.
I don't know. Okay. You could browse the phone forever without turning on your brain.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And if you read RSS, then you can go down a hole forever. And that alone, like, I think about, oh, well, I probably would have brought out a mobile game or booted up a game in like on my room or something on a console. Or so the idea of playing something on my DS or my Vita doesn't cross my mind.
Yeah, it sort of seems like, oh, it's so much work to like take that extra thing with you and then pull it out and then power it up and figure out what game you want to play and start playing. And if you only have 30 minutes, you've spent 10 of the 30 minutes, getting out of your bag and turning it on, and then you're just like, well, I don't know about this anymore all of a sudden, right?
But there are some monster good games on there. Something I would say, sure. They don't get anywhere close to most things you're going to play on your phone.
No, definitely not. There's a lot of really great games. Like, I still think, I'm pretty sure you've never played this, but that everyone should probably play Persona 4 Golden on the Vita. I think that's probably one of the best RPGs I've played, maybe ever? I don't know. It's up there.
Isn't it kind of a strange RPG?
It's pretty weird. For anyone who's never played it, I'm sure you fall in this camp, right? Have you played any of the Persona games?
I have never. Give me a rundown, because I have never played a Persona game, and the only thing I know about it is that it's weird with time.
Okay. Time.
There's some sort of weird time mechanic, and that you're in high school.
Yes. Well, in this one, you're in high school. Are you always in high school?
I don't know.
You might always be in high school. I don't know. I have only played Persona 4 and the Persona 4 like remix or whatever that they came out with on the Vita, Persona 4 Golden. But they're the same game. Persona 4 is a PS2 game originally, but I think now it's out on PS3 and probably PS4 and the whole everywhere. People should play it. It's a really great game. It's a JRPG with all the things that means. So, it's very, you're a Japanese high school student moving to a small town where crazy murders start happening. And you, as the high school student and your group of friends, take it upon yourselves to solve these murders. It's a really interesting premise. Slightly different a lot of ways from the sort of swords and fantasy saving the world kind of stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like that would fit the JRPG mold at all. How is it? You're gaining levels and stuff somehow?
Yes. So your characters have these personas that they use to battle monsters, and the monsters show up in, at least in this game, inside the world of the TV, which is a thing. How do I even explain this? It sounds really weird. People have to trust me. The game makes it make sense. The Shadow Realm, they call it. It's a sort of an alternate dimension where people's sort of like this. It's like the psyche or something, right? There's a lot of psychology terms used in this game to sort of make sense of what because persona is a psychological term. All these kinds of people's wills and stuff sort of come together in this Shadow Realm. And when people deny their true self, it creates a sort of shadow monster version of them in this realm that sort of acts on its impulses and sort of shows their bad side to everyone.
It's like kind of like the nobodies from Kingdom Hearts a little bit.
Yeah, it's a bit of that. And then this shadow realm sort of comes out to the public on this. They call it the Midnight Channel, which is a sort of a TV channel that only shows up at midnight on rainy days because we have to have a weird conceit about everything. And then everyone watches it, or, it's a local legend or whatever, and you see sort of people doing things they would never do, right? Because it's their shadows. And anyway, and then people end up murdered, and it's all this stuff is connected somehow, although you can't figure it out. And you have to figure out who's doing all this stuff and why. But your character's personas level up, right? And so then as your personas fight more guys, they level up, they gain new skills. You can fuse the personas together to create new personas, do all this kind of like it's almost like Pokemon in a kind of a case, right? The main character can use any persona that you capture in the game, and you can raise them up and merge them together and sort of breed them up into bigger and stronger personas. Whereas your party members that you take with you each have their own set persona that only they have. And then they gain new skills and stuff over time. And, you have your sort of your standard JRPG turn-based battles. You get a turn, and then everyone on their side gets a turn, that kind of stuff. You go back and forth. I know it sounds really weird, but that's not the part of the game. The combat and all that stuff is good, but it's not the thing. The thing is the social links.
Social what?
Social links?
Social links.
Yeah, it's basically the game's way of describing your character's friendship with all the other characters in the game. And so you said there was a weird thing about time with this game, and the thing about time in this game is that you have to choose how your character spends every single day of this time while your character is in this town.
Not battling things.
Right, well, maybe you want to spend the day battling things, or maybe you want to spend the day going to your high school sports club so you can hang out with your sports bros. Or maybe you want to spend this time hanging out with your buddy Yosuke over here because he's cool and you guys want to go see what adventures you guys can get up to. Or maybe you want to go hang out with your main girl Chie because she's cool and wants to go eat steak skewers. Or, this kind of stuff. And so the more time you spend with each of these characters, right, the stronger the bond between your character and their character gets, and then they will get special abilities in battle, or it'll unlock extra personas, or allow them to do things for you in the battle section.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And so generally most of the days will be broken down. In the morning you'll go to school. In the afternoon you'll have a chance to spend time with someone after school somewhere. And then at night maybe you'll get a chance to like read a book or go work a job or do some tutoring or something like that. Or hang out with your father or your younger sister. Or, sorry, uncle. He's your uncle. Or niece. Younger niece.
Even you can't keep it straight, and you've played the whole thing.
It's very confusing. The game is long. It's like, 80 hours or something. Longer if you want to do everything, of course. But because it's broken down into these very discrete time sections, right? You could play like 3 days in the course of, 20 minutes. Right? Just go, oh, okay, I'm going to go to school today. Oh, okay, I'm going to watch the TV. Oh, okay, I'm going to go do, my after-school job and earn some money. There you go. That was one day. You're done. It took you like 10 minutes, and you're good to go. So it's really easy to just sort of chip away at it over time, as long as you can sort of keep the big tenets of the story in mind.
Right on.
Yeah. So anyway, that game is on Vita. Everyone should go play that game. Really, really great game.
I think the Vita is great for that style of game. It's a very comfortable system to hold for a long time. So that's why I own all the Final Fantasy games on it.
Yeah, and the screen is big, and it's like the art style in that game. Man, I just love the look of everything about that game. It's really, really cool. I'm actually very excited for Persona 5 whenever that comes out. I don't know. I don't have the systems it's coming out on. I know it's announced for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3, I think.
Huh.
So, yeah, this is it'll be weird. I don't know if they'll put out the PlayStation 3 version over here. Or if that's going to be a Japan-only thing. I don't know.
Despite all that, I busted out the 3DS. And I popped back in Bravely Default.
Oh, yeah. That's a great one.
Is it?
Okay.
I started in my save game file.
Uh-huh. Where were you?
It's still in chapter 1, I think.
Oh, okay. Real early.
So for those of you that don't know, Bravely Default is also a JRPG. So it is much similar in mechanics to what JJ has described. You run around leveling characters. It's more traditional in the sense that your party is the one that levels because they are battling monsters themselves. As you work your way through the story and go on quests endlessly to try and advance the main character's storyline.
The plot seems a lot more traditional in the case it's about a group of dudes or dudes and ladies or people going together to save the world kind of thing, though, as opposed to being a high school drama.
Yes, it's more traditional in terms of saving the world. Everyone has to save the world. But I don't know if I played back enough RPGs that had multiple classes that you had to like mix together. So like in Bravely Default, your warrior can also be a mage. They have like a primary and a secondary class. So your whole party has to level classes individually. So they have to fight in battles, let's say as a warrior or as a mage or as a thief, endlessly, so that they level up to a certain point. And then you have to kind of pick jobs that complement each other, and then jobs that complement other jobs, and you have to build these parties that all work together in synergy in order to beat some of the harder bosses in the game. So I like the story, I like where it's going and all that sort of stuff, and I like the style of the game. And I'm not a huge JRPG player because I've probably only played 6 or 7 ever, but I like them. But when I got back into it and I started playing it, I've probably played, between the plane flight and driving around town and stuff like that, maybe 5 or 6 hours. Most of that 5 or 6 hours is, of course, just, I can't remember where the menu was to change the random battle setting down. So most of
yeah. That's so key in that game, because okay, so for people who don't know what Andrew's talking about, that game has it's literally a slider that allows you to adjust the percentage chance that you will get into a random battle while you're walking around. You can set it to 0, and you will never fight an enemy except for a boss. It's so good.
Yeah.
Or you can set it to 100% when you know your team needs to level up, and then every step you take, you'll just get into a fight, and then you can just get into another fight, and another fight, and another fight, and do all your fighting in the span of, the 20 minutes you want to spend fighting after you've optimized your classes or whatever.
Yeah, I can't remember where it is, and I think it's set to 100.
Oh my god, you got to find it. It's in some option menu. Like hit select and poke around in there. That's so important. That's the thing that makes that game, in my opinion.
So I've been stuck random battling a lot, and because I've been random battling a lot, I started thinking about my classes, and that got me thinking about how to optimally build the best class combinations, because I didn't want to get to the end of the game and be like, well, I really should have leveled Knight the entire game, because now I have to spend 4 hours leveling that up. You know what I mean?
So you won't need to. You'll top out on at some point, the last 2 abilities or whatever of every class aren't going to be that important, and you just want to focus on maybe 1 or 2 classes for a certain person, because it starts taking a really long time to level up at some point. So then at that point you can go try out some of the other classes, rather than fight 70 battles in order to level up once or something. And the new classes will always be the quickest ones to level, right? Because you have your level 1 instead of level 10 or whatever in those ones.
Right.
The thing I did when I played that game was I turned my party into, at least for fighting monsters and stuff, like a giant Alpha Strike party. Because do you remember the Brave and Default stuff?
Oh, yeah. So the game is called Bravely Default. Which
is a weird name.
It's a weird name until you realize that it's basically named that because of a mechanic in the game. Either you choose your characters to be brave, or you choose them to default. And if they're brave, they take a certain amount of extra actions, up to 4, however many you choose. If they default, they basically pass their turn to increase their defense and gain an action on a later turn. So you're either brave or you default, Bravely Default.
So you can mortgaging your future turns to act more now.
Right.
Or saving up additional turns for later so you can act a bunch of times at once.
Right. So if you pick a fast class like a thief and you go brave, likely is if your whole team gets, 16 total actions before their team gets to go, you've probably killed all the monsters.
Yes. And so that was what I ended up doing a lot of the time when I was sort of grinding monsters, random battle stuff just to level up. I think I used Ninja a class in that game?
Yes, I believe so.
I think I used ninjas and Valkyries and I don't remember what. But basically I made a couple characters huge, really hard-hitting sword people. And then the other ones were magic buffing dudes and ladies, dudes and ladies. And then pretty much I just defaulted every single person to take 4 extra actions, the most you were allowed to take every turn, the very first turn, so that all my guys would go first, and my entire party would get, like you said, 16 actions before they get to do anything, and their entire party would be destroyed before they even got to act. So it's just like one giant alpha strike, like boom, they're dead. That's the battle.
So the problem that I have had and always had with JRPGs is that I don't know if I'm leveling enough. I don't know the optimal weapons. I don't know the optimal classes. I don't know the optimal skills. And then it gets me really bogged down and I start over leveling and then I get really bored because all I'm doing is random battling.
Mm-hmm. The nice thing, at least about that game, is there isn't really, or I didn't, to be fair, I didn't spend a lot of time researching either. And I don't think I ever actually got every class that was possible. I know there were some classes that were optional later in the game,
mm-hmm.
And I don't think I ever ended up getting them because there's some stuff that happens at the end of that game that really sucks, let me tell you.
So you did not ever look into building any of these things. You didn't look into optimal weapons or optimal builds, and you didn't get all the classes, and you didn't random battle all the time, and you didn't have a problem at the end?
At some point, you do have to do a bunch of random battles, right? Like, you have to just get your characters up to a level commensurate with the enemies in whatever dungeon you're in. But at some point, if you can, alpha strike every single enemy you meet in that dungeon, and they just die, you're probably good to fight the boss. Like, you'll be fine.
Okay.
I didn't end up having a lot of trouble with the bosses, but mostly because the bosses all sort of fall into the kind of thing that it seems like a lot of Japanese games do, where your awesome strategy to fight all the creatures in the dungeon is not going to work against the boss. So don't try it, right? Like, don't try and alpha strike the boss because you're going to get killed immediately the next turn, right? Because that means also after you mortgage your 16 turns or whatever worth, the boss gets to act 4 times in a row because now none of your guys have any turns available. So yeah, don't do that stuff against the boss. Just play defensively, stack your turns up for later, and then when he's weakened or whatever, go in and blow him up.
All right. Maybe I'm overthinking the game too much to enjoy it, because I remember when I first started it really, really, really liking it to start off with. The characters are a little annoying, but they're always a little annoying in JRPGs.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. At some point, you have to, get past the fact that this one person, their thing is they're going to be the, sad guy, and you just have they're just going to be the sad guy, and then you just have to know. That's just, every time he's going to come on, he's going to say something sad, and you're like, oh, come on, dude.
All right, well, we'll save part 2 of handheld talk for next week.
Oh, man. Leaving me on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
That's cool, though.
And it's more 3DS related.
Cool. That's awesome, though. I'm glad you got back into that game. I had totally forgotten about that. I know I played that a long time ago. Maybe that was the most recent thing?
I think I got into it because the second one just came out. So that's what reminded me to put that one back in my system.
Yeah, I know I didn't play the second one because there is a bummer of a thing that happens at the end of that first one, and I noped right out. I don't want to say it because maybe you'll get to it, and then you can tell me about it when you get there.
Okay.
Yeah, that people that know the last few chapters in that game, all you guys know what I'm talking about. It sucks, and you're right.
All right. Well, I want to be in on the joke, so I'm going to try and get to the end of this as quickly as I can, although every JRPG out there takes 90 hours, so...
Yeah, that one is not that long, though, if I recall. It doesn't go 90 hours.
If I can figure out how to turn down the slider...
Yeah, you know what? Maybe after this podcast, I'll poke around. I'll get my copy out, and we'll poke around on it and see if we can find it. Because that's crucial to enjoying that game the right way.
Okay.
Because once you're really strong in an area and you're just blowing every enemy away, right? You don't need to fight them anymore. Just turn to 0, move on with the quest.
Yeah.
Also helps for wandering around to find all the treasure boxes and stuff.
I have to get into our first listener reaction, listener question, listener interaction.
Oh, whoa. Did we get an email to podcast@weweregamers.com?
No, this is a little bit of a cheater one. I got a text message.
Aw, dang. I was so excited.
Someday, someone will email you, JJ.
That'll be cool. One day, someone will pretend to like me.
But somebody texted me, although didn't text you, oddly.
Conspiracy?
Which makes me laugh even harder. Steph wanted to know if she thought we thought the Hearthstone quests were random.
Okay.
Tell the people why that's funny, JJ.
So, Stephanie has talked with me before about this topic. I did not remember that she was going to text you.
First of all, for the listeners that don't know, Stephanie is JJ's girlfriend.
Yes, she is. Yeah.
So
I introduced her to Hearthstone.
Backdoored you to get this question on the podcast by going to me.
Yeah. She told me she was going to text you this. I forgot that was what happened here. But Stephanie is of the opinion that I am extremely lucky in the kinds of quests that I get in Hearthstone.
She implied to me that she does not think that the Hearthstone quests are completely random or random at all.
I disagree with that opinion, but I don't know what to say to people who... I can't prove that they're random.
Do you think that there's been an instance where, like... Because a lot of times I'll go through stints, and I don't know if this proves that it's random or that it's not random, where I won't get the same quest twice at all. I guess I should write them all down, but I won't get the same quest twice at all, and then I'll get 2 in a row, and then it'll start being none of the same again, and then I'll go through other stints where it's like a 60 gold quest every day, and then a 40 gold quest every day.
Yeah, I know specifically this incident came up in the fact that I got the Spectate quest, which earns you a free pack of cards. I got it twice in 1 week, which is, or very close together. I don't remember if it was within a week, but it was very, very recently. After I finished it, I got it again pretty quickly. And that quest seems to be on the rarer side.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah. In terms of who knows how rare any of this stuff is. Anecdotally, I can say I'm not out here tracking, the statistics or anything, but I can definitely say that the ones that seem less common are the 100 goal or win 7 games one, and the win a pack one seem like they're pretty uncommon compared to the other ones.
Okay.
But as for which quest you get beyond that, I think it's random. I think there's just some machine somewhere rolling dice and assigning people stuff randomly. It's not like every person gets the same one when they log in every day. It's just the luck of the draw. I think there's a lot of people want to perceive patterns in randomness. It's like a human psychological thing. I forget the name of it. There's some psych major out there can correct me and tell me the name of that thing. But it's a thing that people have where they like to see patterns in anecdotal evidence and cause some kind of grand design behind it.
Okay, so I had a generally similar reaction to that I thought to myself, it's likely that they're all random. But it did bring up another thought in my head, which was newer accounts. Let's say somebody makes an account today versus somebody that made an account 3-4 months ago versus somebody that made an account 2 years ago when the game came out. Would it be unfair? And I'm not saying that they do this or that I've seen evidence of this, but would it be unfair in your mind for them to flag those accounts for increased quest gain? So somebody who made an account yesterday, should they get more of the spectate quests? Or more of the high gold quests?
Or more of the high gold quests because they need the gold.
Yeah, to catch them up. And, let's say the spectate one would have them learn, and the high gold win 7 games in any mode quest would let them earn gold in practice mode. Versus having to win in play mode with 40 gold quests and not thinking they're getting anywhere with packs.
Sure. I think there's probably an argument for that. To help sort of onboard the newer players, get them access to better cards, sort of bring them into the fullness of the game, which becomes more fun the more access to cards you have, I guess. I don't think it would be unfair as long as it was done the same for everyone, right? Sort of anytime someone started, you would have the same. I don't know. I don't even know if it's an advantage. It might not be an advantage. as long as it's applied equally, right?
Across the accounts at that given time.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of...
I don't think that it's necessarily unfair.
I didn't think that it would help people too much, to be honest. I mean, you're still getting one quest a day or whatever. You know, if you got a pack a day, maybe that's a little unfair. But, like, you know, if you got a higher incidence, let's say.
Yeah. I think a lot of it also is that when you're new at the game, you feel the lack of cards a lot more than when you have a bunch of cards. And so that extra, you know, getting that quest that rewards the pack or rewards the 100 gold feels so much more consequential when you really need that gold as opposed to when you don't.
Right.
So yeah, there might be a good argument there. Maybe they should do that. Maybe they do it and they don't tell anyone. Yeah, that would be interesting. I don't know. I feel like there's no way for us to know without, like, you know, sort of gathering up thousands of people and doing some kinds of crazy statistical analyses
that I'm not interested in doing.
None of us are interested.
All right. Well, to end on a funny note, and maybe one that annoys me a little bit, did you see the Zelda commercial that was posted to our page by Chris? He found a video of the original Zelda commercial for the first Zelda on Nintendo.
Okay. Wow, Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
That is... okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow, that's something.
Yeah. Did you enjoy that?
Yes, that was pretty amazing, Andrew. That is it a rap?
It
wants to be a rap badly, I think.
It really wants to be hip hop of some sort.
Yes.
The
whitest possible
The
hip-hop.
part that annoys me is, like, one, those people are like 20 years old.
Yeah. The kid quotes, air quotes here around kid, the one with the nerdy one with the glasses.
He's got to be 30.
That guy's 30 for sure.
And then what is with them making him push his glasses up in a little intercut? Like,
yeah, that's how you know he's a nerd.
Oh my gosh, nerds. Like, it was literally a commercial made by jocks. Like, they're doing, like, jock jam raps with a bunch of nerd stereotypes about a video game.
Yeah.
What is that? No wonder people got beat up for playing Nintendo.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It's Nintendo's fault for making drivel like that and putting it on the air.
Yeah. Nintendo of America, what are you guys doing?
Oh, it made me, like, at first I laughed the first time I watched it through, and then I watched it the second time, and it made me mad.
I watched it. It's just so bad. Just some really poorly thought out lyrics. It's someone came up with that rap. Like, some poor writer was shut in a room, and they're like, come up with something funny that the kids will like. And they're like, kids like rap music, I guess? And they came up with that, and man, to know that that's out there now for basically eternity, they have to live that down. It's gotta hurt someone somewhere.
It hurts me now. Oh boy. Well, we'll put the link to the video on the show notes.
Yeah, post that link on the page. In the show notes.
We'll put it.
Let people
we'll put
see
it up
that.
there. You guys can email us or tweet us or whatever. What your thoughts on it are?
You know, Andrew, they do say that the legend never dies.
The legend of a terrible, terrible commercial.
Yes. God. Wow. I thank you for showing me that, and also, why did you show me that?
Should we wrap this thing up and maybe I can find a way to get on some sort of game on this internet here?
Yeah, hey.
It is hotel internet. I'm not certain I'll get a stable connection.
We can try anyway. That would be cool. Let's wrap this up. Andrew, how can the people contact us?
We contact ourselves and they contact us?
Well, I know how to contact you, but how do the people contact us?
Well, we have a fantastic little email called podcast@weweregamers.com. You can also tweet at us on Twitter @weweregamers, or you could find us on facebook.com/weweregamers, or you can go to the website, weweregamers.com. And if you can't find us through any of those avenues, JJ will put his cell phone number on the podcast.
I don't know that I will do that. But you can find our podcast on iTunes and the Google Play Podcast Store. So come subscribe and listen to us.
Yeah, listen to us talk about things that are probably not that important. But we've done it 5 times now, so maybe they are.
Or at least they're important enough for us to talk about.
For you and I to talk about, I don't know that anything has to be important.
Yeah, you're probably